Today, I'm joined by an ex-operations manager in corporate who's now a remote high-ticket closer. Welcome, James Ramage.
A few years ago, my role at that time was to open gyms all across the country. Things were going very well, and I got a bonus at the end of the year for $1,800.
For context, what's a good month going to be for you?
North of 20 every month, 20K. This month looks like it'll be north of 30.
Wow. What's contributed to that?
Really what's contributed to this is it's just amazing being able to live the life that I have. Go to the beach in the middle of the day, hit a bucket of golf balls between calls and pick up the kids when I want. Stopped off at the driving range, back home, had a call, closed it, picked up my kids.
Made
$1,500.
$1,500, nice. Yep. What some people make in a week.
Yep. We went to swimming in the afternoon.
One call for the day. You were quite surprised with the lack of volume that you need in this role in order to make the money that you're making now.
Correct.
And you're feeling a bit antsy.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I was like, is this fair income? Is this legit? Is there something I'm missing here?
Live from the Noosa penthouse, it's the Remote Sales Podcast. I'm your host, Kris Cochrane, and today I'm joined by an ex-operations manager in corporate who's now a remote high-ticket closer working from home on the Sunshine Coast. Welcome, James Ramage.
Thanks, Kris. It's great to be here, mate.
Mate, this has been a long time in the making. I've really wanted to have this catch-up for months now, but then your situation kept changing.
It did. Yeah, that's changing. Right. Goods and bads, but yeah, we're here now.
There was a few ups and downs.
Yeah, there was.
But mate, I wanted to start because move fast and break things is something that we say when we onboard our students. We say, we want you to get in, move fast, break things, try stuff. It might not always turn out the right way. You exemplify that. You started with us in October 2024. Within 2 weeks, you'd landed your first role. So take us back to before then. What was happening for you before you started getting in remote sales? What was motivating you to make a switch?
Yeah, so listen, that was an interesting time for me. I was working in an office. I had people that I was responsible for, and it just wasn't filling my bucket. And it turned out to be a bit of a toxic environment, to be honest. And I knew that's not where I wanted to go. Like prior to that, I'd had a few situations in my personal life where, my life was changing quite a lot, and I didn't know if I was going to be happy with the role that I had. And I knew that there was an opportunity to really focus on sales, do high ticket selling. And I remember actually looking myself in the mirror. I was at work one time in the bathroom, and I was like, what's the alternative? Am I going to stick this out and put up with this toxic environment? Who knows what that's going to do? Or am I going to jump all in and give this a crack?
So you spoke that out loud?
Yeah, I did.
In the mirror?
I did.
Yeah,
yep.
Nice.
I did. I actually remember it. Yep, 100%. And within 48 hours, I'd left the job and enrolled with you guys.
Take a good hard look at yourself in the mirror. You hear that, but you took that literally.
Yeah,
you
literally.
Took a good hard look at yourself and
that was it.
Made a switch. And you quit your job that day, didn't you, as well?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, we did it straight away.
You enrolled and then quit your job.
Yeah, I was like, let's burn these boats. Let's go. We're all in.
Let's go.
Yeah.
And 2 weeks in, you're in your first role, but which didn't work out. So we've got a few stories to go through today. Got a few stories, and what I think we could start with is actually what you're doing now. Let's just start from where you're at now today. What are you currently selling? How much is it?
Yep.
And what's the commission, and how have you been going with it? What's been your rate of success? What's the current situation?
Okay. Yeah, so I'm working for a very prominent buyer's agent who's based in Sydney, operates throughout the country. I'm very lucky to be working with him. Things have been great, to be honest. Like the lifestyle is awesome. The quality of people that I work with are great. The leads are hot. Yeah, there's a lot to really say about it, to be fair, when it comes to the pros. My success has been pretty solid, to be honest, at the moment. I'm sitting at a 80% close rate, which is nice.
Not bad, mate. Not bad.
Not bad.
For someone who wouldn't call themselves a property expert.
No, not at all. Not at all. And I'm learning a lot along the way, of course, when it comes to property, but things are good, mate.
That's so good. Just as a ballpark, I know that we had a live event a couple of weeks ago. You spoke at the event on a panel, and you mentioned you just had a 10K week.
Yep,
of
correct.
Earnings.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, 10K week, which is pretty incredible. And this week's actually looking pretty good as well. probably this month is going to be a good one. Yeah.
For context, what's a good month going to be for you?
Yeah, listen, like I aim for north of 20 every month, 20K. This month looks like it'll be north of 30. Yeah.
Wow.
So that'll be nice.
Wow. What's contributed to that?
Really what's contributed to this is my pipeline. I've really got that dialed in at the moment, which has been good because I look after the setting as well as the closing. So a lot of times people will come through and they're not ready to take that step, but I'll just obviously keep them nice and warm, keep them moving through that pipeline and then just usher them into that call. And that's great as well. That's an easy close for me because I've already built that relationship with them. I've got that rapport. So when we get into the close, it's straightforward.
Yeah, they're ready to go.
And fast as well, which is a big thing too.
That's great. You don't have to spend time building rapport because you've already got the connection.
I've already built the rapport. That's exactly right. And I've looked after them because, as I said before, a lot of people aren't ready to go straight away. There's some people that need a little bit more information. They need to talk to their partner, all that type of stuff. And I'm okay with that. Just help them through the process. And then when they're ready, I'm ready. You
had a long career in the fitness industry.
I did.
You came through similar to me. Mm-hmm. We knew each other, Facebook friends, but had never met.
Yeah.
And watched each other's journey. And so you were in the fitness industry. You became an ops manager. Yeah, talk us through the journey before getting into closing. Fitness, operations. What was the origin story for you?
Yeah, so always been in fitness, to be honest. I started off as a PT and worked my way up the ranks. And I loved the fitness industry at the time. And I always felt that like I wanted to be the big boss. I wanted to be the national big bosses. And I got to those roles. And it's always funny, you hear those sayings that you get what you want, but then you get there and you're like, this is actually not what I was expecting. That's exactly what happened to me. And it was
was this at Fitness First? Or one of the big chains?
Yeah, so this was through Fitness First, Good Life, and there was a couple other companies as well where I held national roles in. Yeah, so worked my way up the chain, got there, and it just wasn't what I thought it was going to be. There was a lot of pressure. And it was like, I didn't enjoy it, to be honest. And I always knew that there was something that I wanted to be my own boss, to be fair. That's how I wanted to roll. I wanted to be able to control it myself. And because when I was climbing the ranks, there was plenty of times where I got overlooked for gigs when I thought I certainly deserved it. But like I thought that was bull because I was pretty much controlled. I was told when I can go and when I had to stop, and that didn't sit well with me. And obviously that's one of the beauties of working for yourself is that you can go as hard and as fast as you want.
Yeah. A lot of people would liken being a closer. A lot of closers would liken what they do to running a business, and they treat their role as their own business. They're running their own little business within someone else's business. Is that sort of similar to how you run your operation?
100%. You've got to take complete ownership of it, for sure. No one's coming to save you, right? But on the flip side, you can go as hard and as fast and as high as you want.
Yeah. What were some of we'll call them pain points? Because we're having a sales chat. Let's call them pain points.
Yeah.
What were your pain points leading into a remote sales career? Because we spoke about your toxic work environment. Yep. Was that it? Was it just that you had a toxic work environment you had to get out? Yeah,
listen, no, that was part of it. But the other part of it was really the freedom, like in particular with my kids. So that's always really tough because...
So you got two...
I got two little ones, 6 and 8. And so when I was working in office, they needed to go to before school care. They needed to go to after school care. They're only little, so they're big days. Like I needed to drop them off at 7. I wouldn't pick them up until 5 sometimes. They had school in between. That was huge. And so that was always tough.
That's tough.
It was tough. It was big days on me. I was tired. They were
tough
tired.
For them too.
Yeah. And that's right. And then when it was time to come to the weekend, it was I was exhausted, to be fair. Yeah. I just needed to have a rest, so I couldn't really enjoy my time with them. Yeah, that was a big pain point for sure.
Yeah, so flexibility, time with kids.
Yeah.
Was that a driver to want to work from home then?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, big driver. And the new lifestyle certainly helps with that for sure. And the other pain point as well, and a big pain point and a big reason why people get into this is because of the financial side of it as well. Yep. It was always something that, even though
what were you earning, or what was a ballpark kind of salary range?
Yeah, so listen, like at one point it was as high as 200, but that come with a lot of stress and worry and frustration and so forth, and it's good money, right? 200K is decent coin. When you're working the amount of hours that I was working, and every day I had a knot in my stomach about having to deal with this or deal with that, speak to this person, it just wasn't cool, and it's not what I wanted. Yeah.
When you're working for a corporate entity like you were working for reasonably large corporate fitness companies.
Yep.
200K comes with a lot of strings. They want a pound of flesh, hey?
Yeah, they do.
And even though you're still working for someone technically now, how different is it with what you've experienced earning 200K as an employee of a corporate company versus, let's say, you're going to earn, let's say, 250, whatever you're on track for, 300 in the next 12 months. How would you describe the differences from corporate entities? Someone who might be listening thinking they're in a corporate role, how would you describe the differences to working in the company that you're working for now?
Yeah, good question. And I touched on it before, like when I was overlooked for the promotions, like my day-to-day, my life, everything was determined on what somebody had to say. And it's not because I didn't have the runs on the board. Like I still believe to this day I should have got that Guernsey, but
I can tell it's still a sticking point.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And that will happen in the corporate world for sure, right? You're going to get told what to do. Your expectations are going to be set. There's going to be a lot of pressure. And I'm not saying that in remote sales there's no pressure, but you've got control over that. And it's really important that you set it up correctly yourself. And as long as you're really committed to it, then, there's no reason why you can't do it. But obviously the positives of working for yourself and doing sales as opposed to the corporates is you've just got that flexibility. And there's not a lot that you need to look after, but what you do need to focus on in sales is obviously very important, but it's really one or two things that you just really got to narrow in on. When you're in the corporate world, there's several things going on constantly. You get pulled from pillar to post always.
You got to juggle.
Always got to juggle. That's right. Yeah. And it's out of your control a lot of the time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I hate the incremental growth as well that you see in your salary. From what I'm hearing, because I can't speak to being a corporate worker. The only corporate that I worked in was as a copper.
Yeah.
When I graduated high school, straight into the police force, and there was the incremental pay rise. I think 50K was my first salary, which some people are earning. Some of our students are earning that in a month now. But the incremental pay rises that you get in corporate versus as a closer, if you've got a financial, let's say for example, you wanted to buy a new property. You need to increase your income or savings. Yep. You could work more hours. You can work more hours or just improve your skill set. You can earn more in sales.
Correct.
You don't have that ability in corporate.
No, I remember a few years ago, and in the corporate world and in the fitness game, and my role at that time was to open gyms all across the country, and I was doing that. Things were going very well, and I got a bonus at the end of the year for $1,800. And I was
That's an insult.
Yeah, it was. It was like, okay, great. But it was more of a sort of kickstand in my face type thing as opposed to a positive. Yeah.
It's almost like when you see those memes where they talk about the office culture and then they go, yeah, come back to office for the office culture. And then the culture is thin slices of pizza for someone's birthday.
Yeah.
The Coles birthday cake.
Yeah.
In the office room.
Yeah. So
the corporate culture. Cool. You've gotten out of that now, so you're into the remote closing world. You came in with a bang. You started with us. You jumped in. You set yourself a goal. You quit your job.
Yep.
You set yourself a target. You landed your first role really quickly. I think it was 11 days.
11 days, yeah.
11 days.
My goal was 2 weeks, and I did it in 11.
What was your approach then, stepping into that? You treated it like a full-time job, basically.
Yeah.
You stepped in, because a lot of people that we work with, they've got a goal of within the next 90 days. They're going to put in 5 hours a week or in that ballpark around everything else. You went hard.
Yep.
So what was your approach?
What was my approach? Yeah, it was all in. And because I quit and I joined you guys within sort of 48 hours of all that happening. So I was straight into it. And I made a promise to myself that no matter what was asked of me, I would do it. So usually, I've done a lot of upskilling in my time. Usually when it says, introduce yourself into the Facebook group and blah, 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 I'd be like, I'm not doing that. But I did it. And that was my commitment. And I just threw down the gauntlet. I was like, 100%, I'm going to lock in whatever needs to be done. I'm going to do it. And I'm going to get really good at it as quick as I possibly can. Yeah.
Would you say it seems to be a trait of yours is you go hard when you start things, when you start some new things, but does it take a lot of courage, or did it take a lot of courage to have quit your job and then invest a fair chunk of change into a new pathway without any certain outcome, basically? Any certainty on the outcome? Yeah,
it was scary for sure, but there was only one way, and I positioned it that way. Like, I do believe that if you're going to do something like this, you got to go all in. I've seen people do it where they just do a little bit, dabble here and there, and that never works out to the best. You've got to go in, because you're stepping outside your comfort zone when you're doing this. No one is doing this going, I'm 100% comfortable. This is awesome. No one is like that, right? You're going to be uncomfortable. And for me, the way to do it is just rip off the Band-Aid and just go all in.
I love it. The doer versus dabbler.
Yeah.
Because there are people that dabble.
Yeah, the people that dabble.
Not just this, but just anything they do.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Because you're competing against people who are all in, right? So what's your chances of coming up with the win?
Yeah.
It's not looking too good.
Not looking good.
Nah, so you got to go all in, and that was my approach as well.
Yep.
I was ready for a change. My pain point hit that level, and I was ready to go.
You're locked in, mate, and then you got your role within 11 days, and so it was a bit of a birth of fire. You actually got a role with a pretty reputable company in the space.
Yep.
A pretty solid sales team. There was some differences you had with the leadership there at the time, I think, and there was some stuff that was going on. So that lasted a whole. Was it a 2-week period or was it a month? Were you there for?
No, I don't think it was a month. I was thinking it was around the 3 weeks. Type.
Your story, before we go into it, your story is one of those. People listening to this would pick up. You're a high performer. You always expect. You hold yourself to a high standard. You've been a high performer in the past, but your story is one that I tell to people who maybe have had a fall in their first role, didn't work out, or maybe they've had a few challenges in the space. Because I always bring it back to yours, because you've got to. I say you got to crack a few. Sometimes you need to crack a few eggs to make the omelette, and it's not always going to be smooth and linear. Your journey to success, and people have to be prepared for that. Whenever you're starting a new journey, a new venture, you've got to be prepared for these sorts of ups and downs. And I think people take strength hearing that because people know about you and have heard about you, they take a lot of strength from your story. So let's talk about it. What happened?
Okay, yes, the first role, so got in there. They offered me a setter position in the beginning, and that sort of didn't sit well with me. And I spoke to you about it, and we went back and we renegotiated a deal where it was I'll start off as a setter for, I think it was 2 months, with the intention that I was going to move to a closer.
You had a base salary.
I had a base salary.
Base salary of 60, 70.
It was about 70 odd, I think it was. And that was something that I needed to negotiate as well. Yes, I had the base, which was handy, and with the plan to become a closer in 2 months. So that was great. That was exciting. I thought that was going to be a good plan of attack, so I could learn the industry, learn the business from the ground up and go from there. And it was, I was living the remote sales lifestyle there for a few weeks, and then it all went pear-shaped. It all went
belly up.
It all went pear-shaped, and they had a bit of a restructure, and I got the phone call and got let go, which was a sting. But
was it the first time? Was it the first time you've been let go?
First time I got let go. I've never been fired before, but I suppose it's important to say that after this restructure occurred within the business, I got a phone call from the new person in charge offering me my job back.
Yeah, I think there was the chat that we had. There was a complaint put in. There was a complaint from a prospect.
Yeah,
and you'd given them a bit of tough love. Maybe you were a little bit firm with them, and potentially, maybe you said something they didn't want to hear.
Yeah,
I'm not sure that you would have been rude or offensive, but maybe you said something that rubbed them up the wrong way.
Yeah, my driver come out to me.
Your driver, the personality type, mate. You're just sometimes a little bit of a bull at a gate.
Yeah, I couldn't understand what was going on. Just do it.
Just got to get out there and do it. So you gave someone some tough love.
I did.
They complained.
Yeah.
Which I have to say, on that specific offer, would happen regularly. Yeah. Regularly, where someone would complain, because we're dealing with a volume of clients, a volume of people. It was a general population kind of offer. And quite regularly, you're going to get people who they're going to take something the wrong way, and they're going to make it known. But I thought it was bizarre that you got the arse.
Yeah, me too. I was really shocked, and I was like putting the pieces together before it happened. I was like, hang on, something's not adding up here. And sure enough,
there might have been a difference in personalities as well, potentially. But
yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's right.
With some management.
Yeah. But hey,
who knows? We can hypothesize, but
part of the journey, right?
Part of the journey. So you're back out on your backside.
Yep.
So then I noticed you again, the bull in a china shop, come back into our environment, the community, the RSI community. You're back in. You're locking in again. So we're ready to go again, ready to find that next pathway. You're still motivated. it didn't take the wind out of your sails?
No, not at all. I burnt my boats, remember? This was, I was all in. This was it. I'd committed to it just because we had this snag. I wasn't going to give up on it.
No. How long did it take to find the next?
Didn't take me long. It was a few weeks. Like, there was a bit more of an interview process to get the next gig. But after being in the role for a few weeks, understanding more of the industry, being with you guys longer as well, I had more tools up my sleeve. So I was all out in searching for a job. That's where I really upped the ante. Like, the first 11 days, I went hard, but I took everything that I'd learnt, and then I just went all in finding a gig that I really wanted. And that worked out quite well.
A couple of weeks took to get the next role, which was a little bit different. You were selling business coaching.
Correct. Yeah, that's exactly right. So business coaching. So
six-figure base.
Really lucky. Great offer, great company. Things were looking really good. And I actually had a few other job offers lined up at that time before accepting this one, and which was good, which made me feel confident in my skills and, the direction I was heading, because I knew that if this wasn't going to work out, well, I know what to do to get back on the horse. So I was feeling good at the time.
Perfect. Talk us through that. That was another journey. You were there for, was it 6 months?
I was there for 6 months.
6 months. What were you selling? How was that? You were closing as well, obviously.
Yeah.
How did you enjoy that role?
Yeah, so that was an interesting role. The owner of that company, very savvy bloke, very, very smart guy. I learned a lot from him. It was amazing. And I had a setter working for it at the time, and I was just purely a closer as well. It was a tough gig for sure, because really dealing with some strong emotions with people, because the people that I was dealing with were people in high distress because their business was in poor form, or they were in emotional problems, and the family was collapsing because of their business. So it was tough. Like, a lot of these calls were really draining, emotionally draining at times. They could go for...
So they're small business owners looking for help.
Small business owners, everything from tradies to florists and so forth there as well. There were some bigger companies as well, but the majority was smaller ones.
And it was a coaching program that was kind of working them through a process to help them grow their business.
Correct. Yes and no. They were in distress. It was really to help them get out of that distress stage. Cool. And so I'm talking to these people who are on their last legs at times. Like,
that's tough.
Tears and all that type of stuff. It was tough. Absolutely. And
what were some of the objections that you'd get? Was it mostly around money?
Yeah, mostly around money. Absolutely, because they were in financial hardship. Yeah, a lot of them. So that was always a difficult one to overcome, because they really needed to justify. Like, a lot of the objections were, I've got to pay my staff. How can I do this? So that's a tough one to overcome. It's a lot of emotion in that role, and I remember I was drained at the end of every week. I was absolutely drained. At times it was like, geez, I don't know about Monday. It's going to be tough.
Oof.
Yeah, having those feelings. But
Monday-itis a little bit potentially.
Monday-itis, yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Which can happen with any role, basically.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
When you're in a role, and again, sales is great. The flexibility, the money, the working from home. There's so many great things, but of course there's challenges. Of course there are things which aren't so fun and aren't so glamorous. Yep. And I think one of them is you are giving emotion. You're giving yourself to people, which is draining, and then you're also catching people's emotion.
Yep.
You're catching their energy.
Yeah.
And often the people that you find you're speaking to, they're in pain. They're not in the best state.
Yeah.
Which is obviously the reason why they're coming to get a solution, but it can be challenging.
Very challenging. Yeah, absolutely.
Some more so than others, and it sounds like this particular role for you, it was a little bit more where they were quite broken.
Very broken. Yeah, that was the target market. It was tough. Yeah.
Yeah. 6 months there, you got a phone call, and another egg had to crack to go into this omelette, this career omelette. Another bit of blindsided, and you found yourself without a role again. That's right. Yeah.
They had they went through a restructure, and I was asked to sit on the bench for 6 months while it got sorted. And obviously that didn't sit too well, but there's not much I could do about it. Yeah.
So a few marketing issues, I think, and a few so the founder ended up getting back on the phones and...
Correct. Yeah, that's exactly right. So everything got restructured, from the product, how it was offered, how it's KPI'd, everything. So there was a lot of restructure there within the business as well. And the easiest thing to do was for him to take over the reins. And I completely understood where he was coming from. But yeah, obviously it sucked.
It sucked for you. So you were back in the market, but also I'm sure you must have, at this point, number two, within 6 months, you must have been questioning. whether you'd made a terrible mistake.
100%. 100%. I was thinking that. And at times I was like, okay, I'm pretty good in fitness. So I've always got that to fall back on. And it felt good to think about that for a bit. And then I was like, nah, I'm all in on this. I've already committed to it. Like, I can't go back. I'm not going back on my word. So we kept grinding away.
We kept going.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't care how resilient someone is, how bulletproof their mindset is, how much they work on themselves. I know you're up at 4:30 every morning. You've got your routine dialed in. You're someone who's extremely structured with your routine, more so than most. And even still, when people have that nearly bulletproof mindset, that sort of 2 within 6 months, it's got to wear at anyone's sort of mindset and their resilience.
Yeah, I went really quiet over that time, that's for sure. Hid away in my apartment and had a good think about what I wanted to do. But again, this was a time for reflection and just to really hone in on who I wanted to work for, in what environment, and focus on really what I wanted to get out of this. And that was good because I was able to focus on that dream 100 and just line up who I wanted to work with and in what industries. And I was like, if I'm going to do this, these are the people that I want to work with, because I know working in this industry, this has happened to me, and I've seen this as well. And I've also heard stories along the way. Yeah, I fell off the horse a couple of times, but I learned a lot of lessons.
So by the time you got your second gig, you probably still had been in the program, in the transition phase for less than half the time that most people take. So within the time that people are actually in the transition, they go through a whole process.
Yeah.
And the things like you mentioned, the Dream 100, which is a process of building out 100 of the most desirable companies and offers that you could potentially work with, and then whittling them down. And through that process, you're going to connect, you're going to make a lot of connections, build your network, but also get a really good sense for what else is out there. You didn't have enough time to do that by getting rolled so quickly.
Yeah, I suppose that's right. Yeah, I did. Yeah.
So you took the time after that to actually go back to the drawing board, be a bit more intentional about where you go next.
Yeah, I did. And it took longer than I thought. But again, like, that was a blessing in disguise, for sure, being able to wait for the right offer. But I did everything that I did in getting the business coaching role. I was straight into networking and reaching out and doing my video cover letters and so forth. So I was generating a lot of interest, for sure. There was people out there that I was talking to, and there was a couple of job offers and so forth. But
you were more intentional about what you wanted as well, so that allowed you to turn down a couple of offers. And
that's exactly
property.
Right.
So where was property in your, on your list of where you wanted to go in terms of an industry? Was it at the top, or was it high up, close to the top?
Yeah, it was close to the top. It was my top 2. Yeah, it was in my top 2. Property was where I wanted to go. However, again, I wanted to be really specific on who I worked with, because there's a lot of people in the industry. There's a lot out there that seem like they're doing well, but I wanted to work for someone who was fair income, and I wanted to definitely sell something that I fully believed in as well. Absolute conviction. That's imperative for me. Yeah.
Why property? What was the appeal for you?
Listen, property is something that I've always wanted. Like, I've always enjoyed myself personally. However, if we zoom out and look at that as an industry, Aussies love property, right? Aussies love property. So there's always people that are going to be reaching out, looking to buy, looking to invest, looking to sell, whatever it might be. Like, this industry is not slowing down at any time. So I knew that this had a lot of longevity in it, right? So I knew that if I could get in with the right mob, things were going to be good, right? Yeah, that's
for sure. Got one of the best property closing roles that I saw come across my desk for many, many months, potentially ever.
Wow.
It was one of I'd call it a unicorn offer. You had a founder who's just won Australian Buyers Agent of the Year. He's been in business. He's almost the most experienced buyer's agent in Australia as well. He's been around since the old days before a lot of the new guys came along.
Yeah.
So he's been, I think, in business 16 years or so, coming up to
correct.
More.
Yeah.
Won awards, very highly regarded, got a huge social media following, but was on the phones doing closing himself. He was still selling himself.
Yep.
So there was just such a high volume of opportunity coming through, all organic leads, no paid, super high close rate. So you were able to step into a role which I would say, I'd call it a unicorn.
Yeah.
But mate, you beat out a lot of competition. So what did you do that put you in a position that you were able to land that role?
So I remember doing the video cover letter, and this is something I rate myself on, to be honest, in doing the video cover letter, making it specific to the client and tailoring why I would be perfect for the position, right? I think that's a really important part of it. And that got me obviously through the door initially. And then I remember I had my first interview and I come to the party with a couple of really good questions that I thought were going to make him look and be like, okay, this guy's fair income, and it worked. So I never really taken that angle before. When you have an interview and they're like, okay, so do you have any questions? And most people go, oh, nah, or what does the pay like, or something along those lines.
Yeah.
I come prepared with some good questions to make him think and
To get their attention.
to get their attention.
Now, I know at that stage of their interview process, because he'd been selling this offer since day dot, and the way he was selling was quite educational. So he was
Correct.
getting on the calls and running people through essentially a portfolio strategy on a sales call. Initially, it was the first time that they were hiring a closer. Initially, their intention was to find someone who was a bit more of a property expert.
Yep.
And seeing them go through a process where they interviewed a few property experts, and at that stage they interviewed you, and it was almost like the light bulb came on. It was like, oh, okay, this is this is what you get when you get a property expert. You're going to get someone who's a property nerd, but they've got no communication skills, or they're generally pretty terrible at sales.
Yep.
And so you put yourself in a position where you got their attention, great questions, great interview. You did great in your interview. And then you almost changed their mindset around who they wanted, who they thought they needed to hire. Then you jumped on the closing call like it was a role play. You jumped on the role play. You just nailed that role play. What was the preparation for the role play?
As I told you, I didn't think I nailed it. Like I'm glad you think that, and obviously, I got the gig, so it must have been.
You did mess it up at the start.
I did mess it up at the start.
You did mess it up at the start. You had a restart.
Yeah, I did.
You had a restart.
I did. That's never happened to me before.
Man, I was like, what the hell?
Yeah,
Damn.
yeah. So
I was sitting there going,
yeah.
I was like, let's go, James, let's go. And then you had the restart. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Not
so
good.
We did well.
But you picked back up.
But yeah, so it was just reps, mate. Like I was practicing it a lot, as much as I could, really just keeping it natural, just let it float. I'd be also what I was doing as well. So not only was I just reading it out over and over and over again, just getting comfortable with it, I deep dived into his business as well, and I really understood the methods of how he operated. So he's got a couple of courses that he offers as well. So I got involved with that, and I just from top to bottom just went through the whole lot. So I understood the methods that he was speaking, and I was using ChatGPT to understand it better and better, and then it was starting to flow more and more. And that's really what it was. It was just putting in the reps. Like I would record myself reading the script, and then I would just have it in my ears, just on repeat as much as I could. Yeah.
How does it feel now? You've been through these challenges, these dips in your career, to find a role which is such a great match and also giving you such great benefits.
How does it feel?
Yeah. What's the feeling that, I guess, if you think back to some of the lows that you experienced, getting the boot from two companies?
Yeah.
What does it feel like now to have what many would consider the dream role?
It's surreal. It's absolutely surreal, to be honest. And at times I don't think that I deserve it. It's quite strange. Like this is not just a dream role in high ticket sales. It's a dream role in general, right? It's awesome. I'm so lucky. I'm very structured, and so I have forms that I fill out each day, and as there's a question on my form there where it's 3 things that I'm grateful for, and the plan is to put like different things on every day, but more often than not, one of the dailies I pop in there is the flexibility of life. It's just amazing being able to live the life that I have. Go to the beach in the middle of the day, hit a bucket of golf balls between calls, and pick up the kids when I want. It's incredible, and I do feel truly blessed. I'm really lucky.
What does a day look like then? Because that got my attention. Bucket of balls.
Yeah.
During the day, I'm a bit of a golf hack myself, but what does a day look like?
All right, I'll give you...
And a week.
Yeah, I'll give you a real world example. So 2 days ago, what happened? I didn't have the kids at the time, so it was wake up. I did some work. So I'm up early. So at 4 o'clock I'm up. So I usually get a bit of workout done first thing, which is great. get into some meditation, some gym, come home, swim. Just wander up to the beach
Wow.
for a quick...
Oh, but beach, yeah.
Yeah,
You're
beach.
not jumping in the pool doing 2Ks?
No. Quick swim in the beach. Back home, what did I do? I had some breakfast as I did some work, just sitting there on my balcony. Went to a cafe, caught up with a friend, did some more work on the way back. Did some
When you say
errands.
work, what is work?
Yeah, that was
Mails,
just, yes, that was some follow-ups. So
Dreamers.
that was some emails, some follow-ups. I didn't have any sales calls at that time, of course. I'm really focused when it's go time.
You wouldn't be
like that.
taking a sales call from the cafe?
No, not at all. So it was really follow-ups and just touching base with a lot of people. As I mentioned before, I do move people through the pipeline. Sometimes they're taking their time, so it's just touch points. So that's really what that looks like, really. Yeah, emails, as you mentioned before, a couple of SMSs. So yeah, so there's a bit of work, errands on the way home, stopped off at the driving range, back home, had a call, closed it, picked up my kids.
Made
$1,500.
$1,500, nice. Yep. What some people make in a week.
Yep. Picked up the kids, and then, I think we went to swimming in the afternoon.
One call for the day.
That was one call for the day.
Just had one call for the day. Yeah, because I know you were quite surprised with the lack of volume that you need in this role in order to make the money that you're making now.
Correct.
And you're feeling a bit antsy.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I remember, so I can't remember if I called or left you a message, but I was like, is this fair income? Is this legit? Is there something I'm missing here?
I'm taking 1 or 2 calls a day.
Yeah, I'm like,
what am I doing with all the rest of my time?
Yeah. No, it's great, mate.
Not bad, not too bad at all. And if you think about what you're able to achieve now with all this free time, your golf handicap's really going to come down.
Yeah, that's right.
That's really, I think, the main benefit.
That is the top benefit. That's exactly right.
Yeah. What do you think some of the keys to success in your role are now that you're, again, we joke a bit about you're not taking many calls, but you're also doing work outside of call. What do you think the keys to success in high ticket are?
Yeah.
As a closer, now having been in 3 roles.
I'm very structured, and I'm a big believer in habits, right? And I have my habits drilled in that will ultimately lead me to where I want to go. How I think about it is like, everyone's going to fall to their level of habits, right? If you've got good habits and you fall to a level, right, cool, you'll fall off, but you'll bounce back pretty quick. If you've got bad habits or no habits, then who knows where you're going to fall and how long it's going to take you to get back. So your habits ultimately will determine how successful you are. And for me, I just stack habits on habits, right? Because success comes from habits, right? Success is a byproduct of your habits, if you think about it, right? If you use like a sports analogy, if you've got a footy team, they get up early, they stretch, they eat good food, they watch videos back, they train, they do drills. They're not necessarily guaranteed that they're going to win every week, but they're stacking the deck in their favor because these are the habits that they're drilling every single day. Yeah. And it's the same as sales, right? So I'm very, very structured when it comes to that. Yeah, like life is good, but there's a lot that goes into it. When I'm sitting in a cafe and I'm doing work, well, I've got that structure. That hour and a half or 2 hours is structured. I know what's going on in that time frame. I'm very well prepared for it. So it's not like I sit down and go, what am I going to do? I know what I'm doing. There's an outcome that I'm going for in that period of time. So that's really the secret. That's it. It's all about the habits.
Could you give us maybe 3 or 4 of your habits at the moment that you feel are most crucial to high performance as a closer?
Yeah, sure. Okay. So as I touched on this before, doing the reps is absolute key, right? And to give you an idea how this sort of fits in my day. So in the morning, I'm up at 4. It's meditation, it's gym if I can, if I don't have the kids. So I'm set for the day, like mentally, and I'm focused, I'm drilled. So that's part of what I'm going to do as much as I possibly can. Then it will be to do some reps. So when I say reps, it's going through the script and being prepared for that upcoming sales call. So never would I ever sit down and just get into a call and not be prepared for this person. I know what type of person they are. I know what type of personality they are. I know what stage they're at within their investment journey. So I'm coming to play. And so I go through this every morning before that call, and then I'll make sure that I'll do it again at least 1 hour before that call as well. That's a key component for sure when it comes to preparing. And then I'm all about...
It's almost like someone learning their lines before a Broadway performance.
Yeah, it is, but it's not necessarily... I'm not there to learn my lines. It's just there for me to boost my confidence. So when I'm sitting down with this person, I 100% know what's going on and everything's clear. Another part of my habits is reviews. So after every call, I'll spend a couple of minutes. I'll jot down what I did well, what I didn't do well, and what I can improve on. That's really important too. And I'll do that imperatively every single time after every single call. In addition to that, and I've spoken about this before, is that I do have tracking documents, and it's not just around my numbers. It's about how I'm feeling, the preparation before the call, my preparation for the day, things that I can work on, things that I've learned. So, yeah.
Have you ever taken some of your diary, I guess you call it, almost like a 5-minute journal, your morning prep, your evening?
Yep.
Have you ever taken some of the, I guess, your end of days that you've prepared for yourself, which you design yourself? Have you ever taken some of the stuff that you've written, actually it's something that needs to change? Have you used that information to then change something within your routine?
Yeah, every day.
Yeah.
Every day, absolutely. A key question that I have there is, what did I learn? So it could be something brand new, or it could be something, I learned that this line doesn't work. Or I learned that I've got to spend more time on this. 100%. The review part is really important. And as part of the review process as well, I do watch my calls back. It's so cringing. I hate doing it, but it's a must because you see it from a different perspective, and you would never pick up on these points unless you did that. So it's, again, if we use the sports analogy, it's just fine tuning the process every single time. Just because you've had a couple of wins, you're not going to stop running drills, right? And that's the exact same thing.
That's a problem as well. You can get ahead of yourself as a closer. You can, if you're celebrating success, if you're celebrating success and really being depressed about the losses, you're leaving your emotions up to the outcomes, which you can't control.
Can't control.
And so some people as well, we get excited about the wins, but sometimes you won because they came in, they were prepared.
Yep.
They love the product. You didn't have to sell. You just had to take the order. You were like a checkout chick sometimes. Okay. And if you get ahead of yourself and think, hey, I've got this dialed.
Yep.
And you give yourself a hall pass to stop doing the stuff that's gotten you there.
Yeah.
I've seen that people then go into a big rut.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm never going to let that happen to me. No way. Yeah. Again, that's just not in my DNA because I'm working for myself and everything relies on me. I want to be the best I possibly can. And the team that I work with as well, I want to deliver for them as well. So I'm always trying to push the limits as much as possible. And my habits and my daily routines, I'm tweaking it as I go. And that's what it's all about. Yeah.
Wrapping things up, if we look back at your journey, which is incredible to where you've got now.
Yep.
What are some of the lessons that you want to share with people? What are some of the things that you would advise? What's some advice that you would give people who want to walk the same pathway?
Yeah, obviously my pathway was very different because of how driven I was and the decision that I made. And I touched on this before and I'll mention it again. It's that if you decide you're going to do it, you got to do it, right? And you got to go all in on it. And I know that's easy to say. And so my advice would be, if you're going to make the decision to do it and you want to go all in, just take the time to get your ducks in a row in your personal life, because when you change when you change so big like this in moving into such an industry and working for yourself and so forth, like your day's going to change. Like everything's going to change about what you do, right? And you've got to be really prepared for that. You've got to understand that, right? It's not just like you're picking up a hobby and it's an extra 3 nights per week. No, your life is going to change now. So you've really got to consider that. And I encourage you to, get your ducks in a row, make sure that you can fit your new life in and understand that this is what your day is going to look like, your week's going to look like. And then if you can do that, then pedal to the metal. Go all in.
Go hard.
Yeah.
It's different. We talk to other people who are, they've come into this, they've got a part-time role, they've fitted around their lifestyle, it's been more flexible. But the journey for everyone is very different. And I think the journey that you've walked is going to resonate for people who want to have big results and get them really quickly.
Yeah, that's right.
And I think commitment comes there. None of this happens unless you're fully committed to the journey, regardless of whether you want a part-time or a full-time role.
Yeah.
Nothing will change unless you make that decision that powerful. Looking yourself in the mirror.
Yeah.
And having a chat with yourself.
Yeah, that's it. Life responds to action, and you've got to do that. Otherwise, you're just not going to get where you want to go.
Cool. Any parting words for the crew listening?
Any parting words for the crew listening? My only advice would be, in particular to this question, would be just to lean into you and the team, to be fair, because it's all well and good talking about my journey and getting here, but I wouldn't be here without you guys. And because you turned up for me, it's because I leaned in. Yeah. So that would be my advice, is lean in, do everything that you guys ask, turn up for the calls, and you'll be fine. Yeah. That's it.
Awesome, man. I'm super proud.
Thanks, mate.
Proud of you. Proud of your achievements and what you've created as well.
Yeah.
Stoked. Proud of us as well for helping you get there because,
Totally.
man, you really exemplify what can be achieved in this space and the reasons you're doing it with their kids and you know, everything you had going on with the toxic work culture. We just hear it so often.
Yeah.
We hear it so often. So I know this is going to resonate for a lot of people.
Great.
Pumped to see the careers skyrocket.
Yeah. Thanks, mate.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
And if you love the content and you want more of this, make sure you subscribe on YouTube. And if you're listening on Spotify, give us a rating. It really helps the algorithm. And if you're looking for more information about how to get into this stuff, this remote sales space, jump on remoteSalesInstitute.com. There's lots of information there. You can book yourself a call. You can chat to one of our team, or you can just find it a bit more by reading one of the blogs. And we'll see you next week.